He was 27 years old when he signed the papers. Ethan Miller sat alone in a quiet office that felt smaller than it should have been. The walls were beige. The furniture was old. A clock ticked somewhere behind him, slow and steady, like it had nowhere else to be. The room smelled of burnt coffee and paper that had been handled by too many hands. A pen rested between his fingers. It felt heavier than it should have been. Across the desk, the recruiter spoke in a calm, practiced voice. He talked about duty, about service, about honor, about responsibility. Ethan nodded when it felt appropriate. He listened when expected, but his thoughts were far away. Long before this moment, life had already taught him what responsibility meant. Ethan did not grow up the way most children do. When he was 15 years old, his parents were killed by a drunk driver. It happened late at night on a rain-soaked highway just outside the city. The road was slick. The air was cold. Headlights stretched and blurred through sheets of water. One moment, there was laughter inside the car. His mother was talking about something small and ordinary. His father was focused on the road. Ethan sat in the back seat beside his younger sister. The next moment never made sense afterward. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. The world spun. Then everything stopped. Silence followed. Ethan woke up in a hospital bed. His body hurt. His head ached. Machines beeped softly around him. He learned that he had survived. He learned that his sister had survived too. For a while, he believed survival meant hope. But survival is not the same as healing. After the funeral, the house felt empty in a way Ethan did not know how to describe. Not quiet, empty. Rooms held furniture, but no warmth. Voices were gone. Laughter had disappeared. At 15, Ethan became something he was not ready to be. A guardian, a provider, an adult. He learned how to cook simple meals. He learned how to manage bills he did not understand. He learned how to sit through parent-teacher meetings while adults looked at him with sympathy. He hated that look. At night, he lay awake listening to his sister breathe, afraid that if he fell asleep, something else would be taken from him. He told himself that as long as she was alive, everything would be okay. Years later, a rare illness slowly took his sister's life. It did not come suddenly. It came patiently. At first, there were doctors who spoke in careful words, then tests, then treatments. Hospital rooms became familiar. Long nights followed. Machines never slept. The lights were always too bright. Ethan sat beside her bed holding her hand. He told her stories. He talked about the future. He made promises he did not know how to keep. He told her she would be fine, that they would get through it together. He believed it. When she died, something inside Ethan went quiet. Not loud, not dramatic, just silent. By the time Ethan turned 20, there was no one left. No parents, no siblings, no grandparents, no aunts, no uncles, no one waiting at holidays, no phone calls, no emergency contacts, only empty chairs, only silence where voices should have been. Loneliness became normal, not painful in a sharp way, not overwhelming, just constant. Ethan learned to rely on himself. He learned not to expect anyone to stay. He learned how to be strong out of necessity, not by choice. He stopped imagining the future. He focused on surviving the present. Then Claire entered his life. She worked at a small cafe near his apartment. Nothing special, just a quiet place with chipped mugs and soft music. She remembered his name after the second visit. That surprised him. She smiled easily. Not politely, genuinely. She asked questions and actually listened to the answers. When Ethan spoke, she did not interrupt. She did not rush him. She did not fill the silence. Claire did not treat his past like something fragile. She did not try to fix him. She did not feel sorry for him. She simply stayed. With her, Ethan felt safe, not protected, not rescued, seen. For the first time in his life, he felt like he belonged to someone. When they married, Ethan believed he had finally built a family, not the one he was born into, the one he chose. They were not perfect. They argued sometimes. They struggled financially, but they came home to each other. For Ethan, that was everything. So when the war began, his decision was not heroic. It was personal. He joined the army because he believed some things were worth protecting, because he wanted his life to matter, because he did not want to be invisible, and because he made one promise to himself: he would come back alive. War changed everything. Days blurred into heat, sand, and noise. The sun burned without mercy. The air smelled of dust, oil, and metal. Nights were worse. Distant explosions echoed across the darkness. Silence stretched too long. Men learned to sleep lightly. They joked to hide fear. They laughed at things that were not funny. They learned how to listen for danger. Ethan watched friends die, not dramatically, not with speeches or final words, just suddenly. One moment they were there, the next moment they were gone. He carried those losses quietly. He was wounded twice, once by shrapnel that tore into his shoulder, once by the constant understanding that survival often depends on luck. In hospitals, surrounded by antiseptic and white walls, one thought kept him alive. Claire is waiting for me at home. He repeated it during firefights. He repeated it while bleeding. He repeated it when fear threatened to take control. That thought kept his heart beating. Ethan did not fight recklessly. He fought carefully, calmly, intelligently. Other soldiers trusted him. Commanders relied on him. When the war finally ended, Ethan returned home as a decorated veteran. But medals do not prepare you for peace. Home felt smaller. The streets had not changed. The houses looked the same. But Ethan felt different. He hugged Claire tightly. He breathed her in. He believed the worst was behind him. For a short time, life felt almost normal. Then one evening, everything ended. Ethan came home earlier than planned. He did not call. He wanted it to be a surprise. The lights were on. The door was unlocked. He turned the key quietly. He heard laughter, not his. He stepped inside slowly, carefully. He did not enter the bedroom. He did not need to. Voices, movement, shadows behind a half-open door. Enough to understand. Claire never saw him. She never knew he was there. Ethan felt no anger, no shouting, no questions, only clarity. The woman he survived for no longer existed. He left the house quietly. That night, Ethan did not sleep. He sat in his car, breathing slowly, thinking clearly. He decided not to confront her, not to beg, not to lose control. He decided to act. Over the next weeks, Ethan became patient and observant. He collected evidence, messages, call records, photos, receipts, dates, times, patterns. Claire noticed nothing. She believed she was safe. When Ethan filed for divorce, the truth came out all at once. Claire tried to explain. She tried to minimize. She tried to justify. Ethan listened without emotion. Then something unexpected happened. Claire's father and brother were shocked. They did not defend betrayal. They stood with Ethan. In court, they told the truth, even when it hurt, even when it broke their own hearts. The ruling was clear. The house was awarded to Ethan. He sold it, not out of revenge, not out of anger. It was no longer a home. With the money and a small bag of belongings, Ethan left town. He did not say goodbye. He did not look back. He moved west. There was more space there, more silence, more room to breathe. Ethan began working with other veterans, men and women who carried invisible wounds, people who felt lost after returning home. He listened. He shared when needed. In helping others, Ethan slowly healed. One evening, at a small community center, he met someone new. There was no dramatic moment, no instant connection, just a conversation that felt honest. She did not ask about medals. She asked about values, about the future. Years passed. The pain never disappeared, but it no longer controlled him. Ethan understood something important. You can lose your family. You can lose your past. You can lose people you love, but you never have to lose your dignity. Ethan once survived for love. Then he survived betrayal. Now he lived by choice.